Hello, hello, and we are live. We would like to welcome you to Sunday dinner at Granny's on Your Mortality. Welcome having in a conversation. So we do welcome you here and hope that everybody is having a happy Sunday, giving an opportunity for everyone to gather in the room. Got a little D'Angelo playing for a little Sunday.
A little Sunday.
Anybody else missing D'Angelo?
Was not on my bingo card.
2025 has been a year.
It has. I did not think we would lose D'Angelo and Angie Stone in the same year.
D'Angelo and Angie Stone in the same year. That is a sad time. That's all I'm going to say. But I do want to welcome everyone in. And again, if this is your first time joining us, welcome. If you are returning, we do appreciate you. And as always, as we are allowing people to come in, we are encouraging you to tag a family member, tag a friend. For these lives and On Your Mortality, of course, everyone is welcome. So no one is too little or too old to always join into the conversation and together. I think that's the unique thing about Sundays. And I'm sure we're going to dive into it more, but depending on who you are, where you are, Sundays are different. And growing up, Sundays was an opportunity for me to gather most times. So, and I'm sure it was for you as well, because I know that we are, as we laugh and say, have turned into granny like we'll be cooking Sunday dinner. So here we are. So welcome everybody to, and bear with me. If everybody can hear, if you can please drop in the chat or give us a thumbs up if you are able to hear us. And also, please feel free, drop in the comments, what are you having for Sunday dinner? Because we're going to talk about the eats today. We're going to talk about the eats today. We're going to talk about what you guys are also preparing for the rest of the week. Because I know people use Sundays for a meal prep day as well. So I'm hoping that everybody is underway, home or at families or a gathering is the major thing that we hope. So we don't take too much of your time. I'm going to turn some of this music down. And I would like to make sure that we introduce this beautiful person that we do have with us today. One of the things that we are always most excited about is for Sunday dinners, who's going to be our special guest. So I am so excited to share of who we have today. But again, I want to officially just say welcome. Welcome to Sunday dinner. Welcome to having a conversation with your family. And welcome to just chat and chew and have a laid back moment. Again, if you are just joining us for the first time, where did Sunday dinner at Granny's come from? Paying homage and going back to the amazing grandmothers that I had in my life, but then also, of course, a lot of times when I talk to other individuals, they talk about having dinner at Granny's house. So in a safe space, or also creating that opportunity that we also say, if you want to have a conversation, it usually happens at the table, over a meal, breaking bread. So it is always an opportunity. So paying homage, of course, to Sunday dinner. And of course, before we do introduce you, we also want to know and put you right on the spot. What you eating today? Because you are
not cooking. Normally, I would be cooking Sunday dinner right now, but it is the Sunday before Christmas, and I am not cooking Sunday dinner. I'm actually going to be going to my grandmother's to decorate her room, and my aunt is making dinner tonight for everybody. So I am not, because I'm cooking for everybody on Christmas. I took off this Sunday from cooking.
So somebody's cooking some Sunday dinner.
Yes.
And it is good to hear that you are gathering with your granny. So see, Sunday dinner is always not going in vain. But ladies and gentlemen, happy Sunday. And I would like to introduce and welcome as our special guest for our Sunday edition. Our Sunday edition and topic is holidaying while grieving. Woo!
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. And it can be a challenge. And to say that I'm the pro to talk about it, but I thought that it would be the best of the best to tag team one of the professionals and professional based on life experience, professional based on being a licensed clinician. But we would like to welcome to the stage Mrs. Shayna Rudd, and she is a native of Philadelphia, specifically. So we welcome you. She is educated in the Philadelphia school system. She also is a Howard University graduate. Attending Howard University, she majored in journalism and African American studies, earning a bachelor's of arts in 2007. She went on and pursued a master's degree. She became a performer and also competed as Miss America. So there's some exciting things that she is going to share. We must hear about the Miss America moment, as she then went on to also have a master's degree, from Penn. And then also she is the founder of the Legends House. The Legends House is a phenomenal program that is geared towards mental health counseling, as well as incorporating the dance practice in. And she is doing some phenomenal things for both young ladies as well as women in the community surrounding around grief, surrounding around trauma and drama. Most recently, she is not only a professor, but she is an author. And not only is she an authorist, previously when I was
yes, she goes, I'm an
authorist. So prior to this last week, I would say to you that she has written 2 books, but as of this last week, she has written a 3rd, and how intentional it is about the book that she has written that she is going to talk about today. So The Warrior's Secret, the little book about depression, is now available, and it is something that we are definitely going to talk about. But welcome, Shayna. Welcome to have a conversation with family. We're going to catch. If you feel free to have a little chat and chew, you're more than welcome. Today I have a water beverage, but whatever beverage you're welcome to have, you're welcome to do so.
What's up, y'all? I'm gonna behave.
You're gonna behave?
I'm gonna be a lady of distinction and grace.
So how do you behave when you are holidaying while grieving? Because that is for the strong, right?
It really is. The feedback is so loud. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
I'm clear to you?
Okay. You guys can, of course, hear as well. Yes.
I mean, look, this is the worst time of the year. Just flat out. As a therapist, this is the busiest time of the year for us. And dare I say, might even be the worst time of the year for us as too, because the holidays trigger up people's grieving, not just grieving loved ones who have transitioned on, but grieving the end of marriages, grieving miscarriages, grieving infidelity, grieving friendship breakups, grieving grieving losing a job, grieving not having the money that you wish you had to buy the gifts. Like, grief is so layered. I think when we hear grief, we automatically think death. And it is a death. It may be a death to the way that you were living, a death to an old way of thinking. Either way, grief is involved, so this is a rough time because while everybody is singing, and it's also the end of the year, and we have a tendency to be really reflective about what we didn't accomplish, what we did accomplish, what we hoped would have happened. We do like a year, evaluation. And sometimes that can get us down too, especially this year. This year started in Philadelphia with a plane crash, like on Cotman Ave. Like this year was so bizarre, right? So we're all carrying that, and then now we're supposed to be like la 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 la, and a lot of people can't do it.
A lot of people can't do it. And let's sit right there because I think that that's important. And a conversation that has been a recent thing with several people is during the holidays, no is a complete answer.
Child, during the holidays, during the whatever days.
365?
365, just say no.
But learning, because let's sit there, that is something that you have to learn to say no or being open. So for the individuals that are joining us, and like that, it's safe to say that anybody who is a part of the OIM village or family, or I think I'm going to be safe to say in 2025, there's no one that has not experienced any form of loss. Because as you did say, loss is also, let's expand it. We're not just specifically talking about the physical loss of a loved one. Because yes, that's a thing. There are a lot of individuals where our lives have changed in the last few months, last few weeks, last few days. How about this? Last few hours. There are some things that have changed for individuals or in their families where they have physically lost loved ones. And yes, it's the holiday time. So no, it does not make it any easier when it's not a holiday. But like you said, this emphasis that's already so that it's holiday and you need to smile and you need to deck the halls. And it's like, no, where do you get that from? But then also, like you said, we are talking about individuals as well for the last few months. We are grieving the losses of relationships. We are grieving, and there are individuals that are experiencing divorce. They are experiencing, of course, the loss of jobs.
300,000 Black women.
300,000
have lost their jobs this year, and now it's Christmas.
Now it's Christmas. So what does that look like, and how is it that individuals are looking to show up? So I think that as we have both been in conversation, that between the two of us and personally, the things that we have experienced and the grief that we are experiencing, but then also there are a lot of individuals that are close to us, but then the clients that we are also serving in the work that we do. And correct me if I'm wrong, it was one of those things that if no other time that we need this conversation,
it's
we
now.
need this right now.
Yeah, it's now.
It's now. And what is something simple where you can encourage that person that is in that now?
Yeah.
How do you holiday while grieving?
You don't holiday. You don't. You find a way. Okay, so you holiday, but you don't holiday in the way that maybe society expects you to, right? Last year, I was grieving the loss of my best friend, my former best friend, who was here every single Christmas. And I was, the past two Christmases she missed. But this last Christmas, it was evident the relationship is over. So I was in grief about it, but I still had to show up. I still had to be Santa Claus for my book. Like I still had to do all of the things. I still had to fry the chicken that was normally her gig. And so what I would say is be as honest as possible. So if your Christmas looks like crying, it's okay. If your Christmas looks like being in pajamas all day, it's okay. If your Christmas looks like not cooking a big meal, and maybe, like, I don't know if you can order food on Christmas, maybe, or go, I don't know I don't know if you can go out. Some people do it. Do that. You have to be willing to become flexible in what holiday looks like when you're in grief. But the primary person in this process is you. I think it's about really paying attention to your needs and giving yourself what you need, and then trying to push through the day. And it is a push through. And don't beat yourself up if you feel like you're pushing through. And don't beat yourself up if you're not smiling. And don't beat yourself up if you're not skipping around with some mistletoe. It just may not be the year for that. It may not be the season for that. You may go through a series of years where you're trying to figure out what holiday looks like now without that person, or without a job, or, like, you may have to, but I promise you this is temporary. Like, keep telling yourself that you're going to create new traditions around your grief, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. It definitely makes sense. And that is why, again, there is a thing of holidaying while grieving. Holidaying while grieving looks like something different for everybody.
For everybody.
For everybody. But I think that the message that, of course, is important is whatever that is for you, it is okay. It is okay. Yes, if you are in the mood and you want to deck the halls, yes, that is okay. If you are not in the mood to do that, and or identifying where the challenge is that, hey, I'm accustomed to this, but this can't happen this way. Or, like you said, taking the opportunity that in time and with healing, yes, it may be an opportunity to holiday while grieving and incorporating what? Our loved ones, and incorporating some of course, their favorite meals and recipes, and attending some of their favorite places to celebrate or incorporate. While we were preparing, and when I was thinking about what does it look like of holidaying while grieving, it is one of those things where they asked, okay, how are you feeling? Are you wanting to be around a large group of people? Are you not wanting to be? Would you be okay being home and making your grandmother's favorite sweet potato pie? I know that is something, of course, that's a challenge where it's like, hey, I can't do that this year, but you know what? Next year,
maybe next year.
Yeah. Or I'm very big on at this particular time, you know what? Make an impromptu holiday if that's what works best for you. I wasn't 2 weeks ago, of course, maybe I wasn't feeling this way, but 2 weeks later, it is okay to also do that. We do have a comment that is confirming, and Michelle, we are reminding that we are sending, of course, all prayers to you all. We are sending prayers to you, your mother, and your uncle. Michelle is sharing that she lost her grandmother on Friday.
And this
Michelle, is going to be different. It is. It's going to be different. To lie to you and say to you that it is not, we can't say that. It is going to be different. But in the different, we do say to you that we are here with you. We are praying for you. And we are encouraging, of course, that you are holidaying while grieving. And holidaying while grieving is going to be different for you, just like it's going to be different for some others. So that's an opportunity to even ask, okay, what is holidaying? What will that look like for you this year? And whatever that is, knowing that it's okay and we can support you, what that looks like. But grannies are such an amazing part of our lives. It's crazy. We underestimate of what grannies do. What kind of recipes they leave for us, the stories. So one of the things that has never changed is saying, I'm so glad that you got to spend the time that you got to spend with your grandmother and to create some memories with her and love on her. But then also it sets the tone for us to say that how amazing grandmothers are, and continue to celebrate them. So it is a thing. So we talked about holiday grieving. If you had to, of course, leave three things for this holiday season within the next, today is the Sunday before Christmas. So if there are any individuals that are planning on celebrating Christmas, if that is something, of course, that they do celebrate, and they recently just lost someone, they recently just lost a job, they recently just lost a significant other, what are three things that you would leave with them to help them to at least attempt to have some type of joyous holiday or next couple days, or even like you said, going into the new year? We put so much pressure. This all is the mosh posh, but we say this is sad season. So what are three things that we can, of course, leave with us today or to the village to say, holidaying, grieving, no matter what the kind of grief that you're experiencing, these are three different things that can tend to bring some joy and peace and comfort.
Well, I think, Michelle, I just want to say my sincere condolences if you're still listening. First things first is I don't want anyone on here to feel the pressure to participate in the holiday. I don't want you to feel the pressure of it. Those of us who are parents, we do have a different, responsibility, or if you're the matriarch of your family, you may feel that you have a different responsibility. But you get to determine how much your output is going to be. And in order for you to have output, you need a lot of input. Michelle, this just happened to you. So I would encourage you to make sure that you're filling yourself up while you're planning a funeral, while you're navigating all of this stuff. You do not have to do holiday. So I think everybody that's on here, number one, you get to make a choice if that's what you want to do. It is not etched in stone that you need to be skipping around. I would encourage you not to stay in the bed. I would encourage you to take a shower. I would encourage you to make sure you drink some water. I would encourage you to make sure you eat. I would encourage you to do something that's very soothing. For me, it would be music. Don't feel the pressure to play holiday music. It might trigger you, but something that's soothing for you to get you through the day. I would make sure that from a physical health standpoint, you were checking all your boxes. So that's food, water, hygiene, making sure that you're not overindulging and self-medicating. So if you already know that you're on edge, I wouldn't overindulge in alcohol. I wouldn't overindulge in weed. I wouldn't overindulge in anything that could be seen, as the DSM-5 says, a addiction, whether process or substance. I wouldn't even overindulge in, well, a process addiction is also sex. I would stay like this. I would check all of my physical health boxes. The mental health space, if you feel yourself feeling overly depressed, or if you feel like you may be in danger to yourself because you're triggered by all of the joy that everybody is having, or you feel like I gotta have it, I would get around some people if possible. Maybe you don't have your own holiday at your house. Maybe you go to someone else's house where you know it's good energy, it's guaranteed to be a good time. I would not be alone in the house in the bed. Now, if you can't get out of bed, I encourage you again, let's go back to physical health. I would still shower. I would still brush my teeth. I would still try to make my space as clean as possible. And I would watch a really good movie or a TV show just to pass the time. Mental space, if you know that you are just completely out of it, I would do all the things I could to keep myself. Here we go. Last thing I would say is, from a spiritual perspective, I would pray. If you are a praying person, no matter what religious background you are in, I would spend the day really in prayer and in a state of gratefulness. Even if you're like, I have nothing to be grateful for, I would find it. I will fight to find it. And I would celebrate that one little thing, right? I was thinking about like when we were talking about job loss. Like if all you can afford is oodles and noodles, I
That
would
is
make it the best oodles and noodles I've ever had in my life. And I would sit there and just eat my oodles and noodles. And if all you have is a little tree that you found that's the side, I would put the little tree there and I would light a candle. Wh- we have to learn how to celebrate where we're at
where we're at.
and be grateful for where we're at and stop policing people and pushing people to be in places where maybe they're not at. And I guess I don't know if that was three, but I would just get through the day.
Yeah.
We all have days that trigger us, and if the holiday is one of those days for you, I want you to know that it is perfectly healthy to get through the day. I don't want you to self-medicate. I don't want you to do anything that is going to harm you or anyone else, but get through the day. That would be my advice.
That is something that is so important, but something that we don't understand. Something that's simple is so powerful.
Mhm.
When you are grieving, and depending on where you are in your grief process, depending on
Mhm.
how many things you're grieving at one time, because we're not talking about on top of grieving one thing, that yes, you could be grieving multiple things at one time.
Mhm.
When it rains, it pours. So reminding to be very, very, very kind to ourselves. Yes, Michelle, self-care, stay prayed up, and with family.
Mhm.
We also have a comment of sharing that family game night was very important. Harlan is sharing that in the loss of one of her aunts, that was something that, of course, she always hosted. So it is something that they continue to host in her memory and gather in her memory. It's something that she created for them, but in turn that they continue to do as a family because
Mhm.
it brings them so much joy and gathering, but it is also a way of celebrating her. Um,
In Ethiopian culture, I learned, especially specifically with death, a really good friend of mine that is Ethiopian shared with me that for 30 days in the culture, they wear black and they cry and they're in grief. And I mean, literally sackcloth and ashes for 30 days. And on the 31st day, everyone puts on colors. And when they put on colors, that is, as they say, I am going to now do something in honor of the person. That doesn't mean that the grieving process has ended, but the colors is a symbol of moving forward.
moving forward.
And that changed how I looked at grief, specifically with death. And you can apply that to a lot of things. You have to grieve. You have to fall out. I tell clients that all the time. A lot of this process will not start until you fall apart. And many times we're afraid of that. We're afraid because we don't know if we'll be able to put ourselves back together.
Afraid,
Well,
but also
yeah,
not knowing how.
yeah,
How, I mean,
not
depending
knowing
on who
how.
you are, how do you fall apart? How do you fall apart? How do you fall
Mhm.
apart when you need to, like you said, move forward? And I think that that is again part of this conversation. While it's important, when you're grieving, you are experiencing something that's different. We
Mhm.
are, depending on where you come from, we are accustomed to that grief is so normal. It is something that we are normalizing the numbness of. We are not experiencing or sitting in. Delayed grief is real.
Mhm.
Waking up in the morning and saying, it's 3 years later. Have I actually really started to grieve yet?
Mm.
No, depending on the person, and or believing that if you are taking some quiet time, some slow time, some self-care time, that it's a form of weakness or a form of laziness, or again, we also we make it a safe space that if you physically lose someone, a family member, a friend, you have a certain amount of time to grieve. No, we're not taking into consideration, like you said, also the individuals who've lost their jobs. taking the time to say that if no other time, this is a time where we need to be kind to each other. We need to speak to each other. We need to smile at each other because we have no idea what we are dealing with. We are carrying. We are carrying these things on a daily basis, and then we experience a loss. So what does it keep doing? You start feeling like you're being knocked down each time. But in also the know to say, you know what? If today I got up and took a shower, if today I fed myself, if today I watched a movie, today that is okay.
It's perfectly fine.
It's perfectly
It is
fine.
not, it is, you are not obligated to do things business as usual. Now, some people, it's therapeutic for them to push through and to have dinner and to do all the things. And I think that I applaud those people, but I also applaud the people who can't move. And the only thing they can do that day is go to the bathroom and brush their teeth. And I just want to normalize that because grief is going to come whether you give it permission to or not. And I just want to make that 100% clear. And I'm saying that as a clinician. When my aunt passed away, I made the last phone call to tell everybody, and my cycle started out of nowhere.
And that's
I think it, and I went like, I was like, it shocked me. And I was like, what the heck is this? And after that, I got electric shock pains that just shot through my leg for the next 6 months. And the doctors did testing, everything. And finally, the doctor was like, Shayna, didn't your aunt just die? This is grief coming through your body. So if you don't let this out, it's now going to attack you physically. And so I had to let it out. Like there was nothing that I could do. So I'm saying to everyone here, it's either going to happen by force or you can give yourself permission to do so. And permission looks like being really honorable, sometimes sitting still and allowing yourself to feel it. And you can almost do it from a ritualistic standpoint. You can do it before you go into prayer. You know what I mean? It can be a part of your meditation. But at some point, you will have to lay it down. And sometimes we lay it down in therapy. Sometimes we lay it down in community. Like when you guys are at game night, you might feel it, you know? And if you feel the tears come up, do not press them down. If you feel like your tears may trigger other people, remove yourself from the space, but let it out. Because
so
all you're doing is sucking it in.
You're not supposed to suck it in and suck it up.
No, you're actually damaging your central nervous system. You know how many people are sucking in tears and that's why they're so angry and why they have hypertension and why they have severe depression and anxiety for years and they're on all types of medication for their heart and their blood pressure and all. It's because we don't just let it out. When we cry, it's our central nervous system's way of saying, I want to recalibrate. I want to get back in alignment. I want to cleanse. I don't care. I will cry. I will carry on. I don't have a problem. I will go down to the ground.
It's important once you do experience that freedom to be like,
let's go.
So this is
up.
And I say to people, like, you don't have to do it around people. If you are the person that you're still like, you know what, I can't do this around someone else. Don't.
You don't.
Do it with yourself, no matter where, if it's by yourself, if it's with a friend, if it's with a significant other, if it's
alone, it doesn't matter, but
it doesn't matter.
I tell a lot of my clients, sometimes you have to manipulate tears. And by that, I mean, when you've been in a hypervigilant state, and you have to be tough, you have to be big dog all the time. Tears are not natural anymore. They feel like forced, like they're almost contrived. So I'll do things like put on Grey's Anatomy. Grey's Anatomy makes me cry. Like I would put on The Color Purple because when Sugar Avery comes into church, Ah, I'm gonna cry.
You will cry.
I'm gonna
It's
cry, and I'm gonna rock and cry. Like, oh shit! I need to get it up out of me.
You need to get it up out of you,
Manipulate the tears.
and that is for women. That's for men. It is
Yes.
important that all people should have some type of comfortability. Again, either by yourself or with people. But in 2025, going into 2026, I say it's been a hell of a year. To say to you that 2026 is going to be, I speak into existence that it will be different for a lot of people.
Amen.
I think that we have had this discussion that it seems that a lot of people have said, you know what, 2025, it's dragged. It's been a lot of loss. It's been a lot of sadness. But it's also been a lot of opportunity, depending on where that loss and or grief for that there is again a new cycle. In the transition of grief and loss, there's always sadness. But in our sadness and our healing, it is a goal that we work towards, of course, understanding the importance of that everybody is and should be healing. Again, that healing looks different for everybody in reference to self. So we say have to heal. Hi, Carlin. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And we are sending you tons of love and prayers to your family as well during this time and season. And Shayna, I think this is a perfect opportunity to talk about something.
What?
The warrior secret.
Oh, warrior secret.
So I want to take an opportunity, of course, because we are going to have to take some questions soon, but talk to us about this little, I'm not going to say little, about this big, powerful. I know that you say it's this little book because you were very intentional about
Mhm.
jam packing this book, this single little small book. It is perfect, but it is so powerful, and gives so many jewels in reference to individuals showing up for themselves, but even talking and diving into what it is to be a warrior in grief. Grief is not for the faint. I don't care how big you are, how short you are, how stocky you are, how cute or feminine you are. Grief is going to tear you out the frame depending on the circumstances, also depending on the skill and sometimes I can't even say, sometimes grief is so raw and or sneaky that I don't care how many therapists you're seeing. I don't care how much you are put
Oh,
together.
sneaky.
I don't care how strong your village is. Grief is something serious. So can
Yeah.
you talk to us about what the warrior secret is? Now I know, but can you share
Have
with
you
everybody
been reading,
else?
Mina? Have you been reading your chapters, Mina, and doing the right thing?
Reading my chapters, I have been sitting in my grief. Friday, I came home finally. And by the time that I took a shower, I had a cup of tea and literally laid down, all I could say on Friday is, what was this?
Yeah.
Friday was one hell of a day. That is all that I can say. And I say that with a smile when I say one
Mhm.
hell of a day because we never know what we're going to wake up and what our day is going to be. Even waking up and not knowing what our day is going to be as an adult, as a caregiver, as a friend, as a colleague,
Mhm.
a family member. That is why it is so important that we are able to understand of having a relationship. I say not only with God, but with ourselves, to say that each day we don't know what's going to come our way. And it's not necessarily what comes our way, but how it rocks or how it shakes us or what comes upon. But even having some form of stillness and stability to say no matter what's going on, even if it looks like a tornado,
Mhm.
you're like, hmm, I'm still, yes, this hurts. Yes, this is sad. Um, Even when we lose someone, I don't care how much I can say that it's a cycle of life. Yes, we know. We have baby showers when individuals come into life. We have funerals when our loved ones leave out because it's a cycle. But to say that there's not emotions that we experience in the birth coming in, the transition coming out, these are rituals or different things that we experience in our lives that rock us. So let's talk about why you wrote this book and about this book. And then we're going to tell people where you can get it. But
Oh, so nice, Nina.
most importantly,
Um,
let's talk about this book.
so I want to be really, I want to thank you for even asking me about the book because I have not processed that I even wrote the book. I feel emotional because I really haven't even celebrated it. And I think because I'm surrounded by so many people that have the expectation, and I do stuff like not write a book, but I do stuff like this all the time. So I think that even people around me are just like, oh, she just did something else. And I feel like I haven't even paused to be like, no, like, this is a big deal. So thank you for that. It makes me pause and be very grateful. It was not supposed to be a book. It was supposed to be the curriculum for the Warrior Secrets class, which is happening right now. The Lord told me to do a class for depression and grief, um, a group therapy style class, and I was told to do it right away. I see why now. Actually, it was in the middle of the federal government shutdown. And I thought that I was not hearing the Lord because I was like, okay, you want me to do it for free? Because, okay, I'm here. Is that my reasonable service? And the Lord was like, no, it's not going to be for free. And I was like, well, God, I'm not doing this while people broke. That's mean. That's when everything was bad. And he was like, watch this. And then everything cleared up. And he was like, now I need you to go in because everybody's really depressed. And people are really hurting. And I need you not to be worried about, you just do what I told you to do. So I went in, I started it, I put it out there, it sold out in 12 hours. Um, I knew then that it was what was supposed to happen. So then the next thing was, I need you to do a workbook. I said, oh, workbook is good. I can do a workbook. And then the next instruction was, well, it'll be like a workbook, but it's going to be a book and you're going to write it in 7 days. And so the class started in 7 days. And I was like, how am I supposed to write this in 7 days? And the Lord said to me, just watch it. And I want y'all to be clear that it was God and it was not me. Because if it was me, that stuff would have never got done. I started on Tuesday. I was done by Tuesday. We went to format. And the class had got their book by Saturday morning. And then we just made it for purchase this past Wednesday. And I think our first day we might have sold 25 books. Warrior Secrets is about my journey through depression and grief, the skills I've learned as a clinician, the skills I've learned as a spiritual practitioner, the skills I've learned as a woman who comes from a long lineage of mental health issues, all in one little book. Because there's so much, Warrior Secrets is going to be a series. Because there are a lot of different secrets that warriors carry, whether that be depression, whether that be anxiety, whether that be self-hatred, whether that be abortions, whether that be all different types of traumas that we don't talk about, divorce. And so there will be a different book for each thing so that you can go and just pick. Remember how grandma used to have the encyclopedias in the living room? I wonder what my grandma did with them good encyclopedias. That it wasn't no internet. That's how I did my book reports. I had to go to my grandma's house.
It's true, but I gotta ask now, what do the new grandmoms do? What do the new grandmoms do?
Well, my mom is a new grandmom, and Soul goes on her phone. It's over. I don't know what them new grandmoms is doing. Shout out to the new grandmoms, but they ain't got encyclopedias, okay? And they ain't making baked beans no more. And hot dogs. Okay, that was a cuisine. So no, that's how I want Warrior Secrets to look, almost like an encyclopedia for warriors, leaders who feel like I have to hide in the dark about something that I'm dealing with. So that's how
And
it came about.
it came about at such the perfect time.
Crazy time. But that is God. I'm telling you, I could not have orchestrated this. I think that's also why I haven't realized that I've accomplished it, because I literally felt like when I was writing it that God was going like this. There were days in here where I would just weep. There are aspects of the book that I hadn't even like I hadn't even thought about. So it was very cathartic for me. And my prayer is that it brings healing to anyone that reads it, and that this book really lays a foundation. It offers tools. It is a workbook. There's affirmations and things of that nature. But I'm hoping that it opens people up, because we have to drain out the pus in our wounds. We cannot expect for infected wounds to heal. They don't.
We don't. But we also have to continue to create those safe spaces where we're able
That's
to.
right.
Even like you said, that safe space to even identify that most times someone who is experiencing grief, because there's no time limit or checkoff, and or I say to anybody, if you're adulting, life be lifing. So, like you said, even opening and understanding and talking about grief, because depending on who you are, some people only associate grief with the loss of a loved one. So they're like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
not grieving. I've not lost anyone lately. Even the lately part, depending on when, it's like grief sometimes doesn't kick in until 2-3 years after,
Yep.
depending on. And why? Because you are consistently in this, you can't rest, you can't sit, you can't grieve. It's been long enough, so why are you even still talking about this? So I think most importantly, again, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for creating a place for individuals such as myself and or others where you can take your armor off and actually rest. Where you're like,
Hmm.
you ever sometimes, think that you're the only one, where I always say the opposite, to say, I know what I endure in a day-to-day business. So I can't imagine what other people are enduring. Or I say to people, if you want to ever be grateful, listen to someone else's story. That is
Yeah.
how we are grateful, the good, the bad, no matter what the circumstances come on, because it could be worse or it could be different. Because we all, of course, are experiencing some things. But most importantly, that little book is something that is very powerful, which also, again, creates an opportunity for you to say, hey, if nowhere else, this is something that I can relate to. This is somewhere that I know that I can get some additional resources for, but it is also something that is written so comfortably and open to that it can apply to anybody, man and or woman. So I think that that's also the important thing as well. Grief, depression, sadness
Hmm.
doesn't look a certain way. It comes in all different shapes, forms, colors.
Hmm.
And I think that even it's interesting to say that depending on, outside of course, COVID or unsafe circumstances, I say to people, if I can give you a hug, I'm giving you a hug, because we don't know sometimes that people just need,
Hmm.
or to encourage, to say, chin up, head up. Yes, there's some things that we are experiencing, but we still experience that in love, share love, be positive. So where can you guys find Warrior Secrets?
Warrior Secrets is available on my website, www.shaynaebond.com. And you can go inside of the Shayna shop. And right in the Shayna shop, it's the first product available for sale. It is a digital download. So as soon as you pay for it, you can download it, and it will be on your phone or on your laptop or on your, your electronic device. Um, we do have a plan to make it a hard copy book. But for right now, we wanted to get it in people's hands fast so that it is something that they can just go to as a reference. So yeah, ShaynaEbond.com.
Absolutely. So make sure you all check out the Warrior Secret. Please make sure that you are gifting it for the holiday season. I know that there are some individuals that I'm going to be gifting it to. It is something, again, to pay forward and to share. Also, again, I know that we are full now, but please keep your eye out for other cohorts
We are
that
doing another
are starting.
cycle. So our this next cycle ends at the beginning of January or the second week of January. We'll take off for 2 weeks. And then we're right back at it. We will be running this depression class throughout the year. We may take a pause in the summer, May, but for the most part, this class is the one that I would like to run consistently. There are other classes that God has been dealing with me about, one specifically around self love, and another one around narcissistic abuse trauma. However, the depression class is the one that I think is going to be the foundation of our school. I really do, because Black people are depressed.
Black people are depressed. White people are depressed. Orange people are depressed, but specifically, Black people are
Our people are depressed.
our
And
people
I
are
mean no
depressed.
harm, I'm a Black Lives Matter, not a All Lives Matter. So I don't want to be anybody. I don't I want to talk about our kitchen table first. I want to help us at our dinner table first.
There you
Okay.
go.
I want to make sure that y'all bringing the right stuff to the cookout now. And
There
then we
you
can worry
go.
about everybody else.
'Cause
That
that's
might
where
be
it starts.
mean. That's how I
No, it's
feel.
not mean. It is important that we start our village, our families. We take care of our own, because if you think for 1 second that others are not taking care of their own,
No, they're in collective, they're in unity.
we are
We have to be unified, but we can't be unified because our mental health is compromised.
it is.
And when your mental health is compromised, and when you're fighting against systemic oppression, it is very difficult to recognize that you need each other to survive. It's an old song. That song, I Need You to Survive, is so old. It's an old gospel song. I've been hearing it in my ear for like the past 3 months. That is how we're going to get through the next few years, which may be difficult for many of us in our community. We're going to need each other. But the only way that we will connect is if we heal our minds and our emotions. So I want us to heal, and then we can pass it along. I see all people from all over the country, but my heart is for my people.
For
And
our
I want
people,
us to
and
be whole.
also, even though there's other cultures that do experience depression, I still feel that we experience depression on a whole totally different level.
Mhm.
Um, and or the huge opportunity is that we're experiencing depression, but we're still normalizing that it is okay to say that you're experiencing depression so that you can work towards or treat that depression. Michelle shares a very interesting, she says, Black Americans show depression symptoms very different than other cultures. We do.
Yeah.
We
I
also
will
don't
say
always have the access to treatment and resources to deal with our mental health.
we don't have the treatment or the resources, but we also, at a DNA core level, have been trained to hide. And it's not Black people, it looks different in us because we're melanated and our experience is very nuanced, right? As a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, I may have one Black student in my class a semester. However, the Asian population, what I have learned about their culture is that many of them die in plain sight. You know, several of them have died by suicide at University of Pennsylvania. The parents will fly and get the body and will not give the child a funeral because it brings disgrace to the culture. So depression across the board needs to be addressed. But at our home, I believe that it really, really, I'm not going to say that people weren't depressed in Africa, but I will tell you that on that boat, once we left, we were on that ship for 6 months, right there in that
That's
barracks.
that generational trauma and drama that is being passed down from generation to generation. We have to even go back what
We
our
have to.
ancestors have gone through for years. But that is a whole nother even conversation for even to say again to say There are people that don't have knowledge or know where their ancestors are coming from. So it is
Yeah.
important. But
And that's why I say Black people are depressed, because it may not be your specific circumstance, but in your blood,
your blood.
your ancestors' blood. In your blood is your ancestor who sat on, you know, the steps and cried because her son was sold away or her baby was taken from her breast. If you think that that doesn't run through your veins, you are sadly mistaken. And so I think it's important for Black people to seek therapy. And I'm going to say this lightly. We need more than spiritual nourishment. We need God and therapy.
And
We need both. We need our spirits nourished and we need clinical help. Sometimes we even need medicine
absolutely. Absolutely.
to navigate,
To
to
navigate.
correct the chemicals in our brain. It's okay to heal differently than our predecessors did. Some of our predecessors only had church. That's it. They didn't have, you couldn't be both Black and mentally challenged. So I'm going to go to church and I'm going to sing my heart out. And I'm going to get that serotonin boost and that dopamine high from singing and shouting. And then I'm going to go home and make a meal for my family. And I'm going to get a boost. But then I'm going to drop. I'm going to crash. It happens. But us, we are the ones who get to have therapy and Sunday dinner and shout at church.
Absolutely.
And thrive in our careers.
Thrive. And where does it start? In our household. So therefore,
right.
This is why it is very important for us to continue to have conversations at the dinner table. Yes, we do encourage that it is on Sundays, for it is a foundation, but it can be Sundays, Mondays. It can be on a random Friday if that is when, of course, it works for you and or your family. But it is very, very important. Curtis, we see you. Thank you for joining us. A shout out to another Penn grad as well. Shout out to my Penn grads that are on here. But mental health is important. The Black family is important. Us going back and reverting and making sure that healing, caring, it is important. I do, before we close out, I thank you. We have taken, this conversation has been phenomenal, but I want to give people an opportunity to ask any questions. Are there any questions out here? We do know where to get, of course, Miss Shayna's, of course, book. We know, of course, we left some tips. If there is anything specific of any questions that you do have, please drop them in the comments. We do want to take consideration of your Sunday and get you back to your family. So as we are taking the time, if you have any questions, please drop them here on this Sunday live, and we are more than happy to answer them. And we thank you for joining us. Let's see.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions? All right, what else do we have? I'm going back. I missed some of the comments. I see that Michelle made some baked chicken wings, sweet potatoes.
Yeah, Michelle, I'm on my way.
We see that we need to come get a meal with you.
The plate, Michelle. I bring my own Tupperware. Don't
you. How you got energy? How do you got energy to cook? I know. We show up. So I'm checking. We have not received any new questions. So again, I want to make sure that you all, if you are not following, please make sure that you do follow Shayna. Also, if you do have any young ladies that are, of course, in the Philadelphia area or willing to travel during the summertime, please check out the Legends House as well, for they are doing some amazing work.
Thank
please
you.
check them out in reference to if there's anyone that is looking for a therapist that looks like you. I don't know how many spots she has, because she is, of course, booked and busy sometimes, because she's phenomenal, but I do know that she is taking still a few more clients. So make sure that you are. Michelle said, come over. We will be. Don't worry.
I'm gonna put my fingers on. It's
know. And she is keeping busy. I totally understand. So keep busy, but you're also going to get some rest. We're going to do some self-care this week as well, but it's important. But We have to keep food on our stomach. Food is, of course, in sadness and in celebration, is still a richness. And of course, it fills our soul. So that is why we're always going to, in our sadness and our happiness, we go to music, we go to prayer, we go to family, and also encouraging. We're saying that it's important for us to go to the Black family. It is important for us to continue to have conversations at the table. It is very important that we continue to speak as a family so that when we are experiencing some things that we are able to know what to do, or at least what are the expectations to do. I say that if you are talking about some things, we always say, talk about it at the table, the barbecue. Things, a difficult conversation, it goes over better plate of ribs or over granny sweet potato pie. There's a lot of things that we can talk about when it's good potato salad on the table. I think that it keeps some things calm, okay? Now, if you have not, of course, had your trial run to make some potato salad, don't you try it. But I think that we always say that in our cultures and in our history, that food is good for the soul. But continuing to meditate, Michelle, continue to exercise and rehab, it is important, and we are here with you all.
Mhm.
I am wishing you all a great rest of the Sunday. If you have not eaten yet, I do encourage you to. If you have not had a conversation with a family member or friend today, please do so. Shoot a text, check on somebody. You'd be surprised. And that is encouraging you to check on the strong friend, the weak friend, in your words. Check on everybody. Smile at someone. You never know the day that they're having. But we are always encouraging you to stay in contact with us at Own Your Mortality, for it is never, never, never too early to do what? Own your mortality. Own your mortality starts today.
Amen.
Always welcoming, of course, you to join our village. We are going to have consistent, of course, education that is going on. I'd be remiss if we also don't shout out the men. It is Mental Health Men's Month. Focus. We love you. We see you. We appreciate you. We need you to know that. But then also, of course, shout out to our women and our Black families. So please don't forget to like, share, follow. We are wishing you an amazing holiday on purpose. And when we say a wishing you a holiday on purpose, we're not saying wishing you the deck the halls holiday. We are wishing you the holiday that is important or that is meant for you, as well as what is best for you to deal with grief. If there's anything that you need or that we can do to assist, please let us know. And we wish you a great Sunday. Till next time, we'll see you the last Sunday of the month for another great guest. Have a good one.